Oh, it just hit it for me. All right, weird. Well, welcome back to Oneself. My name is Stephen Maher. With me today and with me always is Adam Bartleman. Adam, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend.
Yeah, man, as always, Steven, it's a pleasure.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life. I kind of had a crazy week. I feel like some people say, I've been a fool, I've been a fool, y'all. Um, I think by and large, just I had a reckoning this week, lying to myself, and I'm trying to come to terms with that. And Adam and I were talking about it beforehand, and I think it's just good to share it with y'all because hopefully my experience maybe will help you because I learned a lot, and I'm not perfect, and I'm still trying to get better. And yeah, so I'm gonna dive into it a bit. Uh, I'm currently traveling, right? And I went back home to see family, but that's not what I was doing completely, right? I ended a relationship, a couple months ago, and this person was, sad, but then also still trying to help me realize some things about myself, especially when it came to attachment styles, and that I was more of like a, fearful, avoidant attachment style. And, even in the breakup, they wanted to help me, you know? And I was pushing them away and running away and mad and frustrated and, didn't want to recognize the truth of their words. And then I dove into, you know, another interaction with another person to not fully process what I was going through and escaping and ego and all that stuff, running, just running, running from the truth. And, flash forward to, again, like I said, I was traveling and going to go see the new person and back home, which I recognize now, again, started not in integrity, not being fair to the new person. Right. And, because again, I was running from everybody, running from the truth. And then I get this crazy message from this person from one of the Oneself clips, right? That we're posting online and social media. And there was this man and he was trying to help. And I don't know if you believe in this, y'all. My red flags were going up, but he said he was channeling something, from beyond, from higher, again, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. And they knew a lot about me, like this entity that he was channeling, things I can't explain. And my scam flags were going up, y'all, like I said. And I was like, does this guy want money from me? Like, what the hell is going on? But he was 12 hours away in Cambodia, staying up through the night, not sleeping, trying to get through to me to recognize the denial that I had about myself when it came to this attachment style. Like he's very knowledgeable on like the attachment styles. And again, channeling something. This man knew things about me that I cannot explain. I can't explain. I still am processing that part of it, right? And he said, you see that he sees the two paths with me and how, the thing that I'm doing now, like with this new person, like, there wasn't an integrity leading down a dark path, right? Like avoiding the truth, like not processing. While as with, my former relationship, like with that person was just trying to help me and like nothing but love. And even while I was, running and being nasty and, whatever, like they were still in my corner, just trying to help me, like see the potential that they saw in me and trying to have that man, come to the front. But the man that was trying to help me said like, the entities were like rooting for me in the former relationship, and that how that person was just going to bring out the best in me. And And I and I know that to be true, right? Because when I was following the steps that this man was doing, the people I'm telling the story to, I felt like an addict, right? That was in denial that I had an addiction. And this man was like the former addict that was like, no, bro, like this is like, I know what you're doing. I know like the things that you want to do, the steps that you're going to take to like be in denial. And I'm not letting you do that, until we leave this interaction with, you coming to, the correct conclusion, which was that, yeah, like I had an issue, I had an issue with this stuff because I never felt safe, y'all, I guess. I'm learning a lot of lessons now with people in my life doing work around me. And it's like, what does it mean? We talked about this, Adam. Like, what does it mean to be a safe adult, dude? And like for a child to come to you and to be safe, to express themselves, to express their thoughts, to feel like they're respected, to feel like they're heard. And, I don't know, man. Like I just never felt safe, like telling my inner thoughts and feelings to people, I guess, because it's like either they were like, used against me or um whatever the case was, right? So it's like a lot of the time I just, again, fear and avoid. Like, just keep it in and lock it down. And so yeah, I never felt like I had the space to tell this stuff to people, and so here comes along where these all these people are trying to help, and I was just running, and it took a outside stranger on the internet who was insistent on getting through to me for me to come to reach this reckoning. Whereas, like, people that love me deeply were trying all along. I was just too stubborn to see it. All that to say, it's been a crazy week, learned a lot, still trying to make amends to people I've hurt and, recognize that I have a lot of ways to go in changing my ways of thinking and recognizing behaviors in the past that were not fully serving me. And yeah, man, and the work continues. You think you got a grasp on your mind and then you put back another layer, right? In the work, and it's all good. It's life. It's life. And all I can say, y'all, is that I'm not perfect. I'm just trying, and that's all I can do. And that's all
Trying
I
to get
can
back
do.
in shape.
That's all I can do. Just trying to get back in shape, baby. Trying to get back in shape. I know that was a long winded monologue intro. But yeah, man, I admire you, bro. Like as just a man, I know you've been through it too. Got a lot of love for you and your experiences and look up to you, in a lot of ways. And you've had your journeys, right? Ups and downs and peaks and valleys, just like anyone. And yeah, man, just from all that, bro, what do you think? What do you think of this
Yeah,
crazy story?
yeah, man. Well, thanks for sharing. There's a lot to come, a lot of different points to talk about there. But I think like what jumps out to me most is just what is so common through the human experience is like the reason really at the core for all of us doing all the things that we do while we're moving through this world of smoke and mirrors is not feeling safe. That's what it comes down to. It's like not feeling a sense of safety. And if it's like physical safety as well as like emotionally safe, safe to express ourselves, like our deepest, mental processes, it really shows up in the same way. They can be, some people can judge the different levels of that as being, yeah, just that, different levels, but they're really not. It's really whatever your experience of not feeling safe is, has been attracted to you for your soul's evolution for a specific purpose, and it's valid. The struggle is real, until we realize that it's not. But the experience of the struggle is real, while we're in it. That's what it comes down to for all of our evolution, for us to be able to relax and allow in the deeper awareness. It has to come first with a feeling of safety, because that's when the ego releases its grip and you go, oh yeah, okay, I've been going in loops here. I've been pushing away people who are trying to help me because I thought that was going to keep me safe, because that's the part that was behind the steering wheel in that moment, or in all the moments leading up to that, is just an afraid child, right? Like you're, to
Yeah.
use the attachment styles model, what you're explaining there is, the fearful avoidant. It's like, yeah, that's exactly how it would play out. And when we look back, it's
I'm textbook, bro. Like I was reading it. Like it was
exactly,
textbook. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Like
and
I was
and that's the
all my
funny,
behaviors.
yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Is like, and as we say, and as you kind of just alluded to there, we a minute ago, like the more that we realize about ourselves, like Like the more I learn, the more I remember, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know anything. And when we look back on these things and see how incredibly basic and textbook it is, because like yeah, for me personally, going through, I don't know, like the last probably 9 years really diving into this stuff, like reading about trauma and attachment and all the spiritual practices involved with dealing with those things, always coming back to the realization, like, well, sorry, no, reading about all those things, learning about all that stuff, um, and thinking that I really had a handle on it because I intellectually grasped it all, but I still didn't apply it to myself. I was still being a massive hypocrite, still operating with those blind spots because the ego creates those blind spots because the ego doesn't want to acknowledge that stuff. Once you like that separate sense of self wants to keep things pushed away because it believes so deeply in the separate sense of self, and it believes that it has to maintain that viewpoint, that position, because it offers safety, because it believes it offers safety. And that in that part, in like in those, from the perspective of those ego parts, like that is the only way to be safe, is to continue in those patterns that it believed worked for it in the past. So like when you're a child. But that's why it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of wisdom to finally get those parts to relax and release control, and then allow the deeper wisdom to come up, allow the deeper awareness to come up. And often, yeah, recognizing that we are one being here, and that sometimes what appears to be an external aspect of oneself showing up in the form of, random people off the internet or in our relationships, um, that's where the help is coming through. And as men specifically, it's not surprising that often that deeper wisdom is coming to us through women, because they are, generally speaking, more in tune, more connected with cycles, more deeply aware, wiser than we are. And not to create like a division there, but just also to just make an observation that that's just, and it's like the feminine aspect as well, understanding that we have all of that within us, everyone, the feminine and the masculine, um, aspects of our awareness. But yeah, recognizing that it can come in some funny ways, but ultimately that is the pull of the natural flow of things, is to move in that direction of evolution, the upward growth, the improvement of the situation. And whether these beings are speaking to this guy and he's giving you the information, like however it's coming, whether it's your partner, former partners, recognizing that it's all you as well, right? Like that, if we're all one consciousness working as, uh in the experience of being split into many, seemingly infinite parts, we are all one. And those parts that seem outside of you in the form of other people giving you the direction, giving you the hand up, that's really just like an aspect of yourself, which is
Mm.
a cool way to look at it, I think. Yeah, man, that's a that's a that's a really profound journey to go through, and I thank you for sharing your story there. And I'm excited to see how it continues to play out. Because again, I love and respect you too, man, and
Yeah.
look up to you in many ways as well. So I'm excited, and again, yeah, I've been through my own similar things. So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and I know some of those people are listening to this too, and if I did a poor job of summarizing, I apologize. I was just trying to. It's a lot's happened this week, and I'm still processing it. So, to the people that
Yeah,
I care about that are listening to this too and are involved in the situation, you know,
give yourself a little grace.
yeah, yeah, just give me a little grace, y'all. It's been a crazy week. It's been a beautiful week in many ways. It's just it's been a week lived for sure. It's been a life lived this week. Uh, you know, uh, and that's amazing and it's beautiful. And like you said, brother, like my ego is shielding me from accountability, I think,
Yeah,
in a lot of
because
ways.
it thinks
And
that's keeping you safe.
yes, again, back to safety. Like
Yeah,
it thought I was keeping me safe. And then when I finally surrendered to the lies I was telling myself, where I was just like, all right, like I just, accountability to everyone around me, coming clean, I guess, more or less. The reaction that I was getting was the complete opposite of what the ego was telling me, where it's like I was gonna be judged. I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be, people think
Cast out.
we're gonna, yeah, cast out, think less of me. When what was
Mhm.
the true reaction was just more love, and people recognizing, yeah, no one's perfect. Like it's good. Like I'm like happy that I'm coming to positive conclusions, right, about my,
Yeah.
behavior and myself and all that stuff. So it's like the ego is a fucking liar, dog. Like just the whole time, anyways. And and
Yeah,
the safety that I was trying to create within me
but not
was
but not really
facetious.
facetiously.
Yeah.
Not really though, man. Like, remember, like, we don't wanna demonize the ego though. It serves a purpose. Like, we don't wanna
No,
push it away.
right. You want to befriend it more, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, you're 100% correct. 100% correct. I appreciate your pushback on that. Yes, yeah, it's not an enemy. It's not it's a part of me too, right? It's a part of the experience here, and yeah, not demonize it because it is me. I don't want to demonize myself.
No,
I
it
just
was
want to,
trying to love you too,
right, right,
you know? So
and it's hurt way, in its
that's all it
wounded way.
knows.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yes,
it's like you gotta be the loving, caring, wise adult to that part of you that was that little immature part of you that was being allowed to run the show. And you have to reparent it. You have to give it the love. So people are talking about, oh, you gotta kill the ego, we gotta push the ego away. It's like absolutely not. The ego is how we experience this sense of separation, which in turn allows us to experience unification, right? It's the journey of like the parable of the prodigal son, right? Like going out and coming back, right? Or the alchemist. People are very familiar with that. So it's like showing it love. So you reparent it to show it the wisdom that then it can, like, it can take the back seat. It doesn't have to be sitting in the driver's seat white knuckling through life, and you can allow the deeper aspects of you to be the driving the bus.
yeah, man, yeah, yeah, bro. Like, got a ways to go, but yeah, just trying to hold myself accountable, accountable to it. And, yeah, you brought up The Alchemist and, again, I'm in the middle of that part where like I'm not home, like I'm in my travels, but it's like
Yeah, me
I do
too.
feel called. Yeah, bro, like we both feel called to return home and
Yeah.
in more ways than one, emotionally and spiritually and geographically as well, right?
Yeah.
Romantically, where is home,
Yeah.
and really interesting that, yeah, it's like I'm kinda living that little version of my alchemist journey right now, where still got some things to do, in my travels. Still got a couple things I wanna check off my list and a couple goals. But then, yeah, man, I think that's where I'm heading, and trying to build some roots
Yeah.
where that is, you know?
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing too, like acknowledging that there's no urgency, there's no rush to physically get home, but it's like because you're already coming home in your heart, right? So it's like you said, you want to, record some music while you're on the road, do your thing, but as we talked about, your energy's tight now. Nobody else is going to be coming in there, catching your attention, pulling you off center, because that would be now you have arrived at a place of wisdom to recognize that that is not in your highest interest. That might be in the interest of the ego at times, again, the hurt little parts that are seeking validation in different ways, but it's not in the interest of your highest, which is like getting on your center track and like getting into your highest timeline, essentially, like getting in your like most aligned path of evolution. And it's like, so it's cool. It's cool to be like move now. You can really kind of see like you're in that sort of space where you're moving through the world. You're in the world, but not of it. Right? It's like down there in this, doing the traveling thing, as we've joked about, like along with all the other lost souls, including myself in that as well. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
having some
yeah,
direction, not being lost anymore.
yeah, bro, yeah, like, again, I include myself in that number too, and, and was in denial about it, and it seems like I'm
Yeah,
finally, hopefully, it seems like I opened the door, like you said, to that highest version of myself, hopefully,
yeah,
and
yeah,
to like walk through that door for the rest of the year and beyond.
yeah, and yeah, Absolutely, and, like and recognizing, like, we're never actually lost, and I shouldn't even use that phrase, "lost souls." Like, it's a joke, we use that phrase jokingly, but no one's ever really lost, we're never actually lost, we're just in the experience of still finding ourselves. Because to say we're lost implies that, like, it's possible to be lost, and, it's like the shepherd always comes and finds all the flock. Again, alchemist reference, but there's no possibility of being permanently lost. So we can only really be in the experience of still finding ourselves. And I think that's a really nice way to look at it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think it was, used to be in, like, John Steinbeck too, where it's like,
That's a good one
when I
too.
finally I'm paraphrasing, yeah, but it's like when I finally let go of the idea of perfection or whatever, I could focus on being good. I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing, like, something like that. But, like, it was like, I was focused on the idea of presenting myself as, yeah, perfect man, or whatever, just, the outward appearance of what I was to other people when
yeah,
that wasn't, yeah, like, when that's, like, again, just not like we said before, like, perfection doesn't exist, you know,
yeah.
and,
But we can
settling
see
for trying.
good, yeah. And like where do you think that perfection idea came from, and what do you think it results in? Or like just where do you think it comes from? Should start with that.
I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even know. I think a large part of it has to do with, like, honestly, like, American education system where, like, where failure is so demonized, and but I'm like, failure is, like, the best teacher as well. Like, I learned my
Mhm.
lesson. I've learned a lot of lessons, recently, and,
Yeah.
as any entrepreneur or anybody who's, like, building things will tell you, it's like the failure's the best, right? It's like you get real feedback from failure, and,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, like, I try to be a good student in school, so I feel like, you know, you get a bad grade on a test and it's like, you equate your self-worth and your self-value to the scores on the paper, right? And,
Yeah.
obviously, the value you provide to a school or, a business has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the value you hold as an individual, And
No.
And again, it's like I know a lot of this stuff, right? Like it's like I know a lot of it, but
Yeah.
it's like to embody
You
it
know
and
it
to
up
live it,
here.
and it's like to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it intellectually, but to embody it and to actually live it is a whole different story. Because it's like I knew about attachment styles before this dog. Like I've read
Yeah.
about it. I've seen videos on them. You know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah.
intellectually, like I knew about them. And the patterns of behavior. But it's like, again, the ego and the blind spots, as you mentioned before. Man, was I blind to it.
Yeah. It's the root of hypocrisy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I brought this up too, y'all, where it's just like, I told Adam where it's like I see, recording the episodes previously, and it's like that was the version, like that was that version of Steven. And again, y'all, it's like hopefully if you're listening, you're taking something out of these episodes, and I hope you just respect the fact that yeah, we're trying to get better, and I'm not perfect by any means, regardless, but I am trying, and and so with that too, with like and hopefully with this vulnerability, like, kind of bearing my soul here today, what I need to work on. Um, hopefully that you resonate with that too. Um, and hopefully we get better and like because I really love this work. Like I really do. And I've loved it the whole time, and but I recognize now too that there was, yeah, a little bit of a hypocrisy within myself of like, trying to for others to get better and trying to help others to get better when I was, not trying to help not helping
Yeah.
myself, I should say, you know, while others were trying to.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? It's recognizing that it's and trying to be the change that we want to see. And it's okay to be teaching something that like that's a path to mastery is like teaching something. Like we teach what we still have to learn.
Yeah, all
We
good, all
teach
good.
what we teach what we have to learn and what we still have to learn, which is a beautiful thing. And recognizing like yeah, it is an ongoing process. There's been multiple times where, just a couple of days after we record something, I'm like, "Oh, man, that's, like, completely off there. I wish that didn't exist." I'm really cringing, thinking about what I just said a couple days ago, and you know what? That's great, though. That's a beautiful thing to yeah, I mean, pat ourselves on the back a little bit, I guess, at least, being vulnerable and, like, just getting out there and doing it. And, like, And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe saying some stuff, and then like a week later, being like, "Fuck, that's not what I believe at all anymore." But that's, yeah, it's so like good for you, fucking good for us for doing that. At least having at least looking at ourselves and being like, man, yeah, this is not. This has not been spoken from a place of pure wisdom on many occasions. And again, like often if we're seeing if we are if we're noticing something, if we're having like a judgment about something, or we're being irritated by something, we're noticing a fault in someone else or in another group, that's because that still exists in us, really. Because it's not going to even hit on your radar if it is healed in you, because if it is healed, then it's just like we just see the perfection. I see someone engaged in a toxic behavior that and it's fully healed in me, that expression is fully healed in me, then I just notice, I see the beauty in it. I see like, wow, that's where I used to be. And that was where I had to be in order to get to the next step in my awareness. And so I see that person engaged in that toxic behavior, and I love them and I bless them. I don't have a judgment against, like, I can't believe those people over there are doing that. That's so awful. If I'm looking at it that way, that means it's still in me, and I'm really looking at myself, going, like, judging myself. And again, what we judge, we become. So because that's the whole process. It's like it's set up for us to win. Once we relax the grip of the ego and the attachment to it, it's set up for us to win when we just, again, like, loosen the grip of the ego, don't take things so personally, and then we can see it's like it's all of this flow that's working together to push us upward. It's a trip, and it catches us all the time, which is so much fun, like, so many times I've really felt like I have a lot figured out, and then like with these recordings we do, because we do it weekly. It'll be like, often now it's broken down into weekly chunks where I'm like, 1 week later, I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I said that." Like, last week, I really had no idea what I was talking about, and next week, I'll say the same thing, and, like, that's the most exciting part of it. And we can look back, like, 6 months ago, wow, I really thought I had some stuff figured out, but now I can see that I knew absolutely nothing. And now I'm sitting here thinking that now, so I'm like, "Man, where am I gonna be, like, next week or 6 months from right now?" I'll be, like, kinda chuckling at what I thought I had figured out right now, and that's one of the most exciting things about this whole journey for me, is, like, from my perspective, is like just recognizing that it keeps expanding, and it's really interesting. And even though it might loop back on the same themes, like, oh, there I go being like, fearful avoidant or anxious avoidant again. And like, man, if the ego takes hold of it, it can be like, oh my God, we're cycling through the same thing. We're looping. You'll know when that's the case. It's like, often we're kind of spinning this upward spiral. We're just going through deeper and deeper layers of it, or higher and higher layers of it, however you want to look at it. And while it might seem we're going through the same thing, we're really loosening up more of it to remove it from our field. And it's it's kind of hilarious. The universe has a sense of humor. So yeah, man, it's a fun journey.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I stand by, yeah, I stand by, like, I can't regret anything that we've, yeah, like, if I look back on an episode and, like, get, I cringe or whatever you wanna call it, because that's how you learn, and that's how we reevaluate our opinions. It's, like, by, like, throwing these things against the wall and
Yeah.
continuing to tinker with these ideas and these conversations and these topics because, again, we're trying, you know? And I think the intention behind all of it was pure, even if I was misguided, in my own mind. And like we just want to see the world, the collective, the human society, yeah, have a little more love, a little more empathy, a little less fear, a little more compassion, a little less survival mode, a little more thrival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and I think all those things have such merit and are good. And that perspective, by and large, is ignored by the powers that be. To bring it more into the awareness and to talk about it, even if it's messy, y'all,
Yeah.
and to put forth and to continue to hone ideas in our message and put forth into the world. So yeah, despite everything, yeah, I want to give ourselves a pat on the back, and I am proud of us, even though it's been messy. And if someone's still with us on this journey, we appreciate y'all. And we'll continue to be messy and continue to make mistakes, but hopefully the accountability will always be there within ourselves and with each other, and holding each other, like holding that mirror to each other. Um, and Yeah, man, just continue. Yeah, back in shape, brother. We always get back to
Yeah,
it, you know.
yeah. And as you said, and as we've touched on in previous episodes, yeah, like the idea of perfection, especially, I mean, for everybody. I was about to say, especially as men, but like, I mean, I guess as men, we really have like the performance-based self-esteem, like you were mentioning the school grades. I mean, it's for everybody. But that idea of perfection, as you said, perfection being the enemy of good. It's like when you think you have to be perfect, that's that ego part that's getting fired up and not feeling safe, saying like, if I'm not perfect, then we're not safe. And that can lead to that sort of, analysis paralysis where it's like trying to figure out what is perfect and then how that's always changing and like, and what does that mean? Like, see, you mentioning being in school. So it's like, okay, I gotta have perfect grades. I gotta be like the best at all the sports. I gotta be good looking. I gotta be like this. I gotta get attention from these people. Like it's insane. It's not possible. So it's when we're locked into that idea of like the ego's idea of what love is, which is like I have to be admired and loved externally by everybody. Like that doesn't make any sense. We have to relax that grip. We have to find the safety, like the true safety, which comes from within, which comes from the awareness, in my opinion, comes from the awareness that like there's no possibility of not being safe because that which we are cannot die. That which we are can never be lost, as I was saying before, it cannot be cast out. And it's from like finding that anchor within that then like the rest of the stuff just it doesn't matter anymore, all the external. Then when we don't have the attachment to it being any specific way, that's when ironically, at least from the ego's perspective, it starts to all fall into place anyway. But then there's just not an attachment to it. So it's kind of like you can kind of sit in the perspective sometimes of like, huh, my ego would actually like, and kind of still that awareness is there, but those parts, those kind of immature survival mechanism ego parts would really be digging this right now. But I recognize also that I don't really care about it anymore. Maybe I am getting this attention or getting these offers or whatever it is. And now it's like it doesn't matter as much because it pales in comparison to the connection that I have found within myself. Like the it doesn't matter the money or the attention on the in the external world, whatever it is, the approval of one's peers, like it doesn't matter once you've found the approval from within, which is like has always been there and is again the alchemist. Like you go out searching for it to recognize, spoiler alert for I hasn't read the book, but it's like it's been there all along. It's been, right under where you've been sleeping at home the entire time. And that's the thing, man. It's like this idea of perfection. It's like the ego's idea of perfection is this like smoke and mirrors, this thing that doesn't even exist. It changes over time. To give the example of like beauty standards, for example, that changes over time. It's not a constant fixed thing like the ego wants to attach to it and think of it as, but it's rather like this completely made up thing. So really like realizing that we are all perfectly imperfect and imperfectly perfect. Like everyone has taken their from the perspective of like the soul's journey and like reincarnation awareness, we have chosen our circumstances in order to express ourselves. And each soul has chosen their circumstances for a very specific reason. And this is why it's important to not judge anyone else's anyone else's lot in life because we don't know what the agenda of their soul is up to and what they're trying to learn and how they're trying to express and define themselves given those parameters. So it's man, it's just like the expanded awareness, when we sit in it and we allow it to seep in, everything, the volume on everything just gets turned down. And like no matter what's going on externally, it just gets so much more peaceful, so much more beautiful. Onward and upward from there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, to touch add upon that point with my own experience, as I was coming to this reckoning, I didn't even realize that there was a mental weight that I was carrying of me
Yeah.
living, I don't know, in denial, out of integrity, whatever you want to call it. I had a weight on me. I didn't even realize it. But when I
Yeah.
started to course correct within the last week or so, it felt lighter, brother. Like the mental load of my brain felt lighter, and the denial that I was holding kind of disappeared because I finally, like, the chickens came home to roost, and I was honest, truly honest. I thought I was being honest for the last, well, however many months it's been, 5 or 6 months, but I wasn't, right? I thought I was, but I
Mhm.
wasn't. And so now when I'm starting to live more in that integrity, it's like my brain has felt just so much better, like so much more at peace. It was tiring. It's been a tiring week. I've been
Yeah.
traveling and, playing shows and, I've been running here, there, and everywhere on top of all this emotional work, but it's like I said, like it's been a week fully lived. you know, it's been beautiful, right? It's been beautiful. And I would not change anything for it because of what I've been given, which is just a little bit more peace, a little bit more peace with
Clarity.
myself, a little more perspective. Not all the answers, yeah, maybe less answers, maybe more questions, but that's good, but curiosity is still there, right? Curious enough to,
Man,
to
yeah.
keep searching.
Yeah, man. And like more questions doesn't mean that means you're actually on the right path. You're asking more questions. It's like that it can be a little or not counterintuitive, counter egoic, like perspective. That's actually a good thing if you're having more questions, because it's that ego that looks for certainty and looks for things to be fixed. And the ego is a pattern recognition operating system. And that's what it's about, is like trying to have the physical organism survive. That's why we only process like a small fraction of the information that we take in through our physical senses, because we only process that which is relevant to our survival, which and not even that which is best for us, but that which is most familiar, because familiar is often equated with survival and safety. So yeah, man, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be, when you're relaxing into the deeper parts of yourself, you're going to start having more questions, because this creation is infinite, and that's a natural part. That's a natural result of moving down the evolutionary path, is starting to ask more questions. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that, bro. I'd agree with that. I think, I don't know, man. I think, just with the heaviness of everything, I think that's probably where I'm gonna cap it, for this week. It's a little
Yeah,
shorter than normal, but I think it's kind of appropriate. Yeah, I think I just said all I needed to say, I think, for this week. But any
cool.
closing thoughts, brother? Please, for episode 32, please share them.
Um, Yeah, man, I just to come back to what you said there about getting lighter, when you put down the 200-pound backpack you didn't realize you were carrying. Like, oh my God, that's like this happy is happier than I realized it could be, than happy could be. And like that's the case, right? Most people don't want to change and do the work, or I shouldn't say most, a lot of people don't wanna change and do the work because they've heard, "Yeah, isn't that kind of uncomfortable?" Like, doing the shadow work. It's kinda like when people, are afraid to do a whatever, go to therapy or something, right? It's like they don't wanna look at the skeletons in the closet because they think it's gonna be painful, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be a little painful, ripping that Band-Aid off. Again, that, American author Resmaa Menakem's, way of explaining it, the clean pain versus the dirty pain. The clean pain of looking at it, of doing that work, is worth it though, because then you get to heal that wound that you didn't know was festering away there. You get to put down that 200-pound backpack that just because it was your normal, because you were used to it does not mean that it was natural at any point. Once you put it down, you go, "Oh my god, I did not know it could be so light. I did not know I could move through this reality so so much more easily, like, so much more so smoothly, so gracefully." So I think your anecdote that you share there about it being tough but worth it is right on it, and thank you for that because it's worth it. It's worth it to everybody listening. It's worth it to do the work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, and I
one
appreciate
more
the
thing.
space, man. I appreciate you. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
man.
for it.
One more thing. I would just the real shout out to the people in your life. You know, specifically the person holding it down, waiting and offering you all that support, as well as the friend coming through on the internet. And yeah, like lots of respect and love toward them for being so supportive. And that's what we got to do. We're all one being here. Like,
Yeah,
let's love on each other and support each other however we can.
absolutely. I'm really glad you put that in there. Yes, to those people, that person, thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Yeah, yeah. I felt a lot of love this week. From a lot of unexpected places, and it was beautiful, bro. It was beautiful. And yeah, man. Just yeah, gratitude for all of it. Gratitude for the hard. Gratitude for the easy. Gratitude for the love. And yeah, I think that's my 2 cents, and I appreciate anybody listening. Hopefully, if you're going through something similar or, you resonate with what I'm saying, if you like, not necessarily like, but if you resonate with it, want to support us, please like, comment, subscribe, engage with us, tell us your story, whatever you can do to support us. We appreciate it as we're building, trying, getting better every week. So we'll be here every
Yeah.
week. Be here every week, y'all. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.